All right, BB babes. Everybody loves to say, I have the right to free speech. And baby, yes, you do. But that doesn't mean we all have to love what comes out of your mouth. Because there's freedom of speech and there's freedom from consequences. And let's be honest, in today's world, the line between the two is blurrier than a face-tune selfie. I want to just shout out to my sister Coco Montrese. Because today we're exploring what freedom of speech really means in the world, from cancel culture to comedy, political protests to petty posts. Why do some people treat accountability like censorship? And who really gets to speak freely without fear of consequence? So let's talk freedom, fire, and fallout, out of respect, of course. Out of respect for. I would like to bring in my Aminas. How is everybody doing? For some reason we're giving like dapper. Like for some reason, I don't know. With the hats, the glass, everybody's looking very intelligent.
Do you and Coco plan this? Like y'all both have the fedoras on. We could have brought our fedoras. I mean,
What?
I don't talk to her during the week.
That's crazy.
Cook actually. Not do it. What's going on, people? What's happening? Like, what's going on? I know the world is crazy. Everything is just, it seems like everything is burning. What's happening, guys?
Well, I mean, that's always been the world. So you just got to find a way to stay sane in it.
Right. Yeah. And
Okay. Okay. Diego, Diego, do you have any opinions about this? Are you feeling good? How are you? Because you're just
I'm
sitting there.
feeling great. I'm feeling
Okay.
blessed. I feel like I'm glowing. And today would be a great day to release the Epstein files.
Well, that ain't going to happen.
There's a lot of distractions. Okay.
yeah.
Listen, okay, I'm just gonna just jump right into it because I'm really, really interested about this conversation that we're about to have because I think it's like worth having the conversation, especially with the climate that we are in now and everything that's been going on. So I want to ask you, my tribe, where's the line between freedom of speech and hate speech, and does one cancel the other?
No. They don't
Okay.
cancel out.
Somebody said no.
No, they can't
Well,
cancel.
yeah, cool.
Why not?
I think as adults, you have the responsibility of what you say. Are you able to say it? Yes, you are. We should all be free to speak that way, but we should also let everybody else be free to make their opinion about what you say. So if I'm not cool with what you said and I don't fuck with you, then I don't fuck with you. They don't get to tell me I have to feel a certain way about you. You presented yourself that way. That's what I believe. I saw it. I heard it. It is what it is. Just like you had the right to say it, I had the right to have an opinion about it.
Okay, but on the other hand, I think that we are in a time where people are more anxious than ever before. Because of technology and access, we were never meant to have this much access to each other. And also, many people did not know what emotional intelligence is. And so when expressing an opinion, it's also not the speaker's responsibility to coddle or calibrate somebody else's emotions. And a lot of people are very reactive. A lot of people don't know how to take a step back and go, okay, what is the context of what this person is saying? What is informing their opinion on this? Especially these days, if you say something, it's like, okay, you said something I disagree with. You're a bad person, not a complex human being. And I think that's causing a huge problem in communication now.
But Samson doesn't MC. But I feel like there's a difference between your opinion on something and if it's considered hate speech, though.
We know what hate speech is. I mean, I think if we all really had honest conversations and learn how to, what is the expression, not throw the baby out with the bathwater, we would understand. For instance, I always say this: somebody can be against gay marriage, but that does not make them homophobic. And people need to learn how to understand how to differentiate. For instance, a lot of black people may have, and I'm speaking as a black person, you might have an auntie who might go, okay, I know your little friend, and that means boyfriend. I know your little friend is gonna come over here with you for Thanksgiving, and y'all can come in here and eat, but y'all ain't, laying up in the same bed in my house. That don't mean she's homophobic. That's just her rules. That's the way she wouldn't let she probably would not let a cousin and his wife come over and lay in the bed either. But I mean,
Okay.
it's just like people, I think some people expect for others to go out of their way to prove that they're not racist or homophobic or whatever. And I think that, people are going to have opinions sometimes and they're not always going to make you comfortable. In fact,
Okay.
especially when it comes to white people.
Okay.
Now, if you're just going around using the N word, yes, that's problematic. But if a white person is going around and they may have opinions that make people of color uncomfortable, that don't mean that person is racist. And I would much rather somebody be a little bit more direct in how they view the world, regardless of color, versus somebody saying something to coddle how you feel, when meanwhile their coddling is worse than sometimes direct racism.
But you don't have to say the N word to be racist to me.
You don't.
Your views, and the things that you publicly say, regardless if it's your opinion or not, if it's basically trying to say that you are superior to another race,
Mhm.
in that way, absolutely, I have every right to feel that you're a racist, and I'm have every right
Oh,
to call you.
okay, but
Um,
there are some people. And this is this is my problem with white liberals. There are some white liberals who say all the right things, and all their right things are still more racist than somebody saying something more direct. At least I prefer
give
overt
me an example then.
bias or prejudice than covert prejudice. I like to know exactly where I stand with people.
I'm the same way. I like to know exactly where I stand with you, but then when I know where I stand with you, then I get to make the choice of how I'm going to stand with you. I might stand far away from you, but here's the thing: so just like back to,
Shay.
no, I'm saying back to what you were saying about your auntie. See, when you deal with that kind of stuff, and then the rules are different for you than they are for someone
For
else.
other people, right?
Your auntie can't get mad when you say, "Okay, that's the way it is." Cool. What I'm gonna do is I ain't never
Keep
coming to you.
coming.
I ain't never coming to you. And then the auntie can't get mad and be like, he don't never come. They don't never they don't want to be a part of the family. They don't want to come, this and the other. Nah, you made the rules different. You got your pregnant daughter at 17, 16 years old from the boy down the street. But that boy down the street could come sit at that table and eat and kiki and kiss up on because he got the baby in her stomach that they probably made when you was away from your house in your bedroom. I'm not buying that. I'm not coming to my cousin's house and I can't bring my boyfriend, but she could sit up there and be pregnant and have the boy down the street sitting at the table like they already married. That means you just have a problem with gay, period. You don't have a problem with me.
No, I don't think that means they have a problem with gay. I just think some people have certain views, but that doesn't mean that they hate the person. And especially growing up the way we did, we should understand that type of nuance. Like, we all got some ignorant ass cousin who, he might, when he see you, oh, look at this fag coming, and he's playing when he says it, and he may ask ignorant questions, he may have some slightly ignorant views, but when it comes down to it, if somebody really approached you with hate, he will bust somebody upside the head for you. And we're missing that sort of nuance.
Mm.
And something that helped me develop that Because I really believe that if somebody didn't agree with everything gay or everything about color or whatever, I believe that if they did not say everything that was correct, that that made them racist or homophobic or prejudiced. We all have prejudice, but I'm talking about that extreme level of prejudice, how I view other people's prejudices or biases and take them to the extreme, because it's not always the extreme. Sometimes it's limited interaction. Like I say, a lot of times when white people, well, a lot of the opinions that some white people have about black people and even that we have about white people are because we aren't directly exposed to each other enough. So some opinions are formed that way. Um, some people is because of the way they grew up, it's religion, it's certain things like that, and we don't spend time getting to understand why people think the way that they do. Instead, we attack them because they said something that made us feel uncomfortable, or because society says, if you don't say this, and that, you're a bad person. And the thing is people will say this, and that. And a lot of times they do it in this era of social media, they do it for brownie points. But if you look at their behavior, they're a fucked up person. Excuse my language. But then there are people who are honest about their opinions. They're problematic as a human being can be, but if you look at their behavior, their day-to-day behavior and how they interact, they're actually a pretty good person. They just have views that make people uncomfortable. And I think that's what understanding humanity and communication and differing viewpoints is all about.
Samson, I think there's something important what you're saying that I agree with a lot, and is that a lot of these conversations, to bring it back to the question of kind of freedom of speech versus hate speech, there's a lot of nuance and context that's missing. Because just
Absolutely.
because somebody says something that you find offensive doesn't mean that it is hate speech, or it doesn't even mean that, or you might have a moral objection to it, doesn't mean it's wrong. You have a difference of opinions with people on certain things, but I think a lot of people do take it to extremes and want to call it racist, homophobic, transphobic, misogynoir, all these kind of different kind of buzzword, these terms, to blanket it. When you were going through that kind of drama, I remember that pronoun kind of, I don't know, what fiasco, scandal, whatever you want to call it. Do you feel like those comments that you made were like should have been regarded as hate speech? I don't think that. I'm curious to know what your perspective is. Would you classify those comments
No,
on pronouns? Yeah. Because I
no,
feel
I
like
didn't
people were
go.
saying that. People were calling it that. And I was so like thrown
Oh, I
off by
lost
that.
money and gigs and everything because of that. And I was simply being honest about the way that I understood things. And the fact that we cannot have honest conversations like that, because I did get to, me being honest about that, even though, I lost quite a bit of money, I lost gigs, a lot of people in the community turned on me because of that. Being honest and I would even say vulnerable like that helped me to learn, okay, this is why people get upset about that type of thing. And I still have my personal views on it, but I am able to better show up as a fellow human being because I've had people to help me understand why they found that offensive. And I think if we approach, even though I think I'm emotionally mature enough to interpret the trajectory of that experience that way. But I think had it been a person who maybe is not as emotionally intelligent, or, kind of who views the world as something against them, it would have actually made them transphobic.
Hmm. I don't but I agree with him. I don't see anything you said as hate speech. That's not even it. But I do understand what you're saying, because from a different perspective, as okay, if I was the big person, the big white person that you said, um I used to get upset in the airport every time I would go through TSA and they would press the wrong button, and I would have to get scanned because they would always press the female button. And I would get really pissed about it. I would be like, y'all are trying to be funny. Every time I come through here, it's an issue with y'all. Y'all, I am a man, XYZ, ABC 1 2 3. I had to come to the realization. My best friend sat me down and said, I'm gonna be honest with you. You do the job that you do, and you do it so often, you gotta look at yourself in the mirror. Sometimes you do come across like you could possibly be female. And I never thought of it that way.
Mm.
So now when I go through TSA and they do that, I'm more sensitive to them when they do that, because a lot of the times what I was not realizing when I was getting upset, they were completely and utterly embarrassed that they got me wrong. They were like feeling like crap. But I never noticed that because I was angry. I'm like, y'all didn't get it right. So now when I go through there and they do the mistake, I tell them it's all right. It's no big deal. So what I do it for work. So I hope at least I can pass. But I had to change my mindset on that to be able to be that person, because honestly, those people could have been labeled anything. They could have been labeled homophobic, or or just downplayed nasty, and they weren't. A lot of them really, I don't think not one time that they were actually really like being malicious or no with evil intent. When they realized they hit the wrong button, and I'm like, he's like, what's that down there? I'm like, that's my dick. I'm a dude. They were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. But I had to realize that on the other end. So you can't.
Well, but I don't know if everything has to be said, though. I don't know, like, if everything has to be said. I don't know, like, if you think about it, you have to say it. Because some of those things also can be very ignorant, and they can also, like, really, like, merge right into an idea of you being labeled something. And I'm not saying about, like, MC's situation. I'm just saying in general. Like, I feel like if you can think something and then allow yourself the time to process what that is before even saying it, because then once you say it, then that's where I feel like sometimes it can hurt someone. And then you say, oh, it's my opinion. Well, maybe if you've not really, I don't know. I don't know if everything has to be said, especially with social media. I feel like people go on social media and they would just say, oh, this is what I think. And it's like, no, girl, that's not what it is. You don't even have the basis. You don't even have the facts, but you've just said it because you want to use your platform to say something, and you don't know how that affects another person, because you don't know what
Yeah,
that
but
other
but
person is
but
going through.
with social media, people are going to do that, and I think that um, that is the reason why it is important for society at large to know how to have these types of conversations. Know when
Mhm.
something does not deserve attention. Know when something has nuance and deserves a much bigger conversation. To know when somebody's opinion may be influenced by their background or their lack of exposure to a certain thing that they have a more nuanced opinion about. And I think that now, because of social media, which as much as I love social media, I think it had more negatives than
Oh,
positives. Everything is about being reactive. We need a reaction. We need this to go viral. And just like with the news, the only way you can get a reaction out of something is to make it negative and make it
Yeah.
inflammatory. Whereas again, enough of us don't know how to take a step back and go, okay, what does this mean? Does this even deserve me getting upset? And I think that as a society, I think we're so addicted to chaos. We're addicted to trauma. We are addicted to outrage. So addicted to all of that most people just would rather not learn how to unpack a nuanced conversation because we like reacting. We like drama. We like living as if we're reality television characters. And
well,
I think that's a huge part
do
of the
you,
problem.
well, do we feel like social media platforms now have given too much power over what we can and can't say, though?
I think it's given
Uh,
too many people that everybody doesn't need to be able to say things on social media. I think, we were much better when we had to have those types of conversations in a classroom or at a town
In public.
hall,
Yeah.
or we had talk shows because it was moderated. People
Yeah. And a
need to
lot
be
of shit
moderated.
you wouldn't say in front of somebody's face. You'll say it online, but you won't say it. You won't say it to their
but isn't
face.
that freedom of speech? Like, everybody can have an opportunity. Now, these private platforms, and I'm biased because I work for social, but these platforms are supposed to have community guidelines, right? They're supposed to. The problem is that they don't all kind of uphold them to the same quality or standard, even in the same platform, right? On Twitter, two people can tweet the same thing that's inflammatory or using hate speech. One person will be completely fine, especially if they're in power, right? Elon Musk. Another person will completely be banned from the platform. I
Hmm.
feel like on one side, if we're kind of saying like there's this freedom of speech, everybody should be able to have access to use their voice. Should they? No, right? Some people need to be quiet, but everybody should have the freedom to use a platform to kind of kind of use
Well,
their
Diego, I
freedom
mean,
of speech,
the
right?
people who are saying some people should be quiet would also ask you why should they be quiet if it's freedom of speech?
No, they should have that opportunity, right? Some people I'll mute, right? That's our opportunity to say that's our freedom of expression, right? We can mute those people who we don't agree with or we don't want to listen to. But I think we can't pick and choose and say, hey, I believe in freedom of speech, but then a lot of these people shouldn't have any kind of platform to kind of talk on. Now, unless, right, they're spewing a lot of things like misinformation, or if you look at people like Candace Owens. So the idea of nuance is not necessarily involved here. She's spreading statements of fact that are not true, right? Like about the first lady of France. You know what I mean? Like what she was being sued for, like Alex Jones and the Sandy Hook kids, or Fox News and the Dominion voting systems, right? Those are blatant lies. That was defamatory. That shouldn't be protected, right?
No.
But like, and they're supposed to kind of have those kind of rules. So I do agree with the moderation, but I do think that people should still have that access to engage in their freedom of speech and air their grievances out. Even though I personally don't think that we want to hear it, they should have access to do that.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. They can have access to doing it, but then I feel like this: whatever comes from that,
The consequences.
we can't sit here and pick and choose how people are supposed to feel about what you say. You
Sure.
can say it. You can say it all you want. If things happen behind what you say, I, I, it's neither here nor there. And I'm talking even drastic things that happen. It is what it is. That's just how I feel.
So
Do
you're
I
saying
feel-
like
do I
freedom of
feel
speech,
like
but not freedom of consequences. You're right.
Right. Nobody's free from consequences. Everything we do has karma. Good karma, bad karma. It's whatever kind of, but it's coming. It's going, whatever it is, it's going to happen. So if you are allowed to say, oh, we should have freedom of speech, we should be able to say whatever we want. Yep, and you should be able to suffer any consequence that come with what you say.
Mm.
Oh, I was misunderstood. Oh, I should be able to say that. You are. You're able to say it, and they're able to take action. It is what it is. I don't think we need to police adults. I mean, people need to be a little bit more wise than that. It's like, come on, you can say whatever you want to say. But
I agree with that for the most part, but I do think that uh, I do have a problem with the fact that so many people, and this has changed a little bit in the last year, about the last year, this cancel culture thing, because that had gotten really bad at one time. You have an opinion I don't like, so I'm going to get you fired.
Mhm.
You said this thing that I don't like, I'm going to get you fired. You can go and you can look at who people follow, what they like, this and that. And again, because they don't check your boxes, these boxes that we make up on social media, we ignore the whole person because the black and white doesn't fit, what we think people should be like. And I think, again, that is a huge problem.
But I think, Samson, there's also some things that exist outside those, and you understand this because there's certain things that freedom of speech in the Constitution or Bill of Rights doesn't protect, right? So, like things like child pornography, there's certain absolutes,
Well,
right?
that's not speech. That's being a pervert.
that's a
But it's
complete.
part of freedom of speech, right? It's not protected under freedom of speech. There's certain things specifically not protected. Not only just that, but even people inciting.
How is it not?
It's not protected under freedom of speech because it involves harm to minors, right? So there's certain things that freedom of speech does not blanket cover. Another one is things that pose imminent threat. So if I was to say, hey, everybody, I'm going to light this building on fire, like that's not protected under freedom of speech because it would cause a lot of harm or potentially damage or danger caused to people, right? There's certain things freedom of speech is not protected under, which I think are good things. So it's in agreement to what you're saying, but and there's certain protections that don't allow people just to kind of say whatever without consequences, even though everybody doesn't face those same kind of consequences.
I think that's a different kind of extreme, though.
But it's still a part of the conversation, right? Because you're talking about opinions, right? You're talking about checking boxes, morality, like opinion. I don't agree with this. But there's another side that people are using it for. They're on Twitter saying all kinds of inflammatory stuff. Stand by, stand back is one of them that the president of the United States said that violates what's not protected under Bill of Rights.
If I go on TV and I say black people are an imminent threat to our society, and we need to, by any means necessary, make sure that can't happen anymore. That's literally me telling people to go out and hunt. That's I mean, to me, that shouldn't be. I mean, come on.
Well, but that goes again, where is the censorship, right? Because then you will make that statement, would say, hey, that's my opinion. And it's my platform and it's my freedom of speech. And then you're saying, oh, those who want to listen can listen and you can mute the button. But you have literally used your platform and your freedom of speech to cause. And what's the consequence? The consequence is people going down to hunt Black people.
Which means I cause harm
Correct.
to other people.
And that's the problem, Coco. There's not equal standards, right? Because you see people on Fox News get away with certain things that they wouldn't get away with, that they've gotten fired for on ABC, MSNBC, CNN, right?
But they say it on both networks. You know, unless you find a more independent, non-biased network, both sides say some crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff and inflammatory things that cause imminent threat.
I don't know.
I don't agree with that.
Crazy stuff and
they do both sides say some really
I've never heard one side tell the other side people to go out and basically kill the other side. I've never heard that from one of the sides. That's that to me.
The Fox News host talking about killing homeless people.
Yeah, I mean, like, and nothing was done, nothing was said. It's like,
I think that you could say both sides have their opinion about what they say or whatever that is, but there's just one side that has both
sides. Like,
there's just one side platform that is just like you use your platform to, like, again, it's not even to get political. It's although it's everything, even what we do in terms of our artistry is also political. you know what I mean? It's also political because there's one that is causing you and stirring a reaction, or asking you to, there's a consequence to that, as opposed to saying this is what I think and that's just it.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to say, okay, this is a light blue shirt, and then another person say, no, this is not really light blue. There's a shade of turquoise in it. But I'm not saying that you should go and go. You know what I mean? Like, there is a difference, and I'm just like, at this point, it's like, where do we draw the line? And it's so funny because our climate now, it's like nobody can say anything. Nobody can say anything.
Because we don't. I think at one time. On platforms where people voiced mass opinion, you had people who were intellectually and emotionally intelligent enough to be able to moderate sort of complex conversations to kind of help mold people's overall views, or at least allow people to understand there's going to be nuance to this. Now it's like a free-for-all. And it's like everybody can say anything and do anything. Everybody got a voice and an opinion. And we say, oh, yeah, freedom of speech and this and that, which is great, but it's not moderated in the way that it was, say, in a perfect time in the 80s and 90s. And we always saw these really hard political and social conversations, but they were moderated in some very legendary ways that we don't see anymore. And it's kind of like, oh, well, this person said this, and then you get people online. Most of the people online who moderate these conversations now, they moderate them for clicks and views.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to incite. And then you have other people who are really weak people, who get online and oh yeah, we're going to beat up on this person. And I think that now creates actual hatred. I think it creates more hatred than, back in the day when we knew hatred exists. And we could actually deal with more hatred directly, as opposed to now we deal with a lot of things we either created or, it's creating it. It's labeling it. Oh, this is hate. You said you don't like my black shirt. You're an animal. How dare you? You're a very hateful person, as opposed to, oh, well, why don't you like the color black? Everything now is reactive. And then other people who view this, it's like being on the schoolyard. One person shoves another person, and most people aren't going to break it up. They're going to, oh, yeah, go ahead and fight. And now they're standing out. They got their phones out, videotaping the fight. That's what society is. We like fights. We like drama. We like chaos.
Yeah.
And so we go out of our way to make it. And so where there is actual hatred, where there is actual bias and phobia and all that type of stuff that we actually are not dealing with, we're over here creating more of it that really does not exist. And it's mostly because we are addicted to chaos. We love trauma.
But here's the thing. I think though, but Sampson, I do feel like we as people, now that this social media is opened up the way it is, we still don't check each other on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we created this line where yeah, I feel like that's not acceptable, but I'm on the same platform and everything, but I'm not gonna say nothing because, okay, perfect example. I'm gonna give you an example. Like you said about the black shirt. I said, in my opinion, if I'm trying to come across feminine, I don't like royal blue. I will not wear royal blue. I don't like wearing royal blue. I became transphobic, all kinds of stuff because I said, for me, my opinion, when I'm trying to present myself as feminine, I don't like masculine colors. Everybody argued. Oh, royal blue. Oh, you should come out of the times. You're a boomer. You everything's developed since then. I said, yeah, everything's then, but y'all still do gender reveals, and if it's pink, y'all don't scream it's a boy. Or if it's blue, y'all don't think it's a girl. But y'all got a problem with me saying, in my opinion, for myself, I cannot, I can't present in royal blue as a queen because it doesn't work for me. I don't feel feminine in it. Everybody wanted to tell me how wrong I was. It's just for me. I didn't say for y'all. I'm just saying if I present, but
that doesn't make you a bad person.
But everybody who felt the same way I did, because there was such a big group of people feeling a certain way about it, the people who felt the same way I did, they only told me in my inbox. They wouldn't say, well, you're making a lot of sense. And see, what happens is that means we promote people's foolishness. When I'm over 40 years old, ain't no 12-year-old or 13-year-old finna be on the internet talking to me like they on my level. We're not doing that. Block.
Right.
Done. You don't get to talk to me. We gotta have a certain level of respect for ourselves. We're not doing that. And I think kids are not being raised that way, but it comes from the parents too. And we've all grown up sitting back. Now that we have the internet, we sit back and we don't say anything because we don't want to be canceled or we don't want this, that, and other.
Exactly.
But we feel a certain way. I could give to what anybody try to cancel me or do anything.
And Coco, real quick, the reason why, again, this goes back to the point, the reason why it's not okay to come out and say something rational these days goes back to, it is not okay to be a rational person. If you are not into the chaos on either side, being more rational is what gets you chewed up.
Yeah. Oh, you got to
create this environment of chaos. Because we don't know how to accept as human beings. We're complicated. We have opinions and views that are going to make each other uncomfortable, and being uncomfortable is a good thing. Now, the moment anybody gets uncomfortable, they usually project violence onto other people, because they want to do anything they can do to not feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And any relationship is going to make you uncomfortable in some capacity, especially when you're dealing with other human beings who've been raised differently, who have different experiences. And I think when it comes to media, which influences, a lot of how we interact and engage, I think social media has been such a detriment, again, because it's not moderated. I think we were at our best as society when we all had to be home on Thursday night at 7:30 to look at a show where we saw the same characters, we saw the same family, they had lessons in there. It kind of influenced how you understood human relationships to be, and we were all on one accord. I think when we had talk shows, when we understood, yes, people have crazy opinions, and yes, sometimes those crazy opinions have consequences. Jerry Springer was a prime example of sometimes you got to fuck around and find out. But it was also moderated to help us know how to have these conversations. And that's what's missing, kind of that structure around society that we got from watching these sitcoms that we grew up on, these talk shows, again, where these things were moderated and they kind of kept guardrails on society. that's missing, and it's a free for all, and it's again chaos.
Yeah, and I think I think it is a huge free fall in this chaos, and I think um that at some extent all of us have had a hand in um promoting that and allowing that to in a certain way. I know immediately we'll probably be like, no, I didn't do, but I think there's been many times, and I know I have, and I can just be honest with myself. I know that I have stayed silent about certain things, and I'm just like, that's wild. Nah, we're not doing that. That's crazy. And it's been on either side, from both sides. Like, we got to say something. We got to do something, because if we don't, if it's not being policed, and if we're going to police it, then at least police it in your own life, in your own mind.
Mm.
I have a standard for me. I don't play, because we have so much access to each other now. Um, as far as the celebrities that I interact with, and I make sure that it's on a totally different level for me. I'm not, no, I don't want to. I have a working relationship with certain people. I don't want to hang out with you like a fan. I don't want to be around you like I'm a fan, because then that creates this false sense of, oh, we cool, we friends, we do this, and now they're doing something, and I'm not speaking on what they're doing. We gotta really take ourselves outside ourselves. Beyonce does not engage with y'all on anything if it ain't about her business or her job.
Smart lady.
They can say what they want to say about her. They can do whatever they want. They can try to bait her into conversations and questions. She don't do interviews. She's not doing it. She ain't getting into it. And I think that was the smartest thing to ever do, because she, out of all the celebrities around us, she's still a huge mystery to us. That's why we go and pack stadiums for her. There are other celebrities, yes, they've been coached into, you got to go live to feel, you got to go live. You got to take a stance. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and this may be really big controversial. I was not going on the social media to talk about the Palestine and all of that. I didn't know. I don't know enough information about what was going on. I had to research that. And people were pressing me. Why haven't you spoke out? Why haven't you said anything? I said, to be honest with y'all, I do not know. I have to do the research on it. I'm not
Right.
speaking. I'm not speaking
I
before I
respect that.
know
Yeah.
the whole ordeal. Because
And
people do
most
that
people
on
don't
the
know.
bandwagon. Right. And
Most
but I'm
people
only,
don't know.
like, I feel like I'm the only, especially in our field where we are, I feel like I'm one of the only ones that was okay with saying on the internet, hey y'all, I don't know. I don't even know. And then I
Well,
would
I
be
think,
like,
but
let me research that
But
before.
Coco, I think with social media, like even with social media also giving you the power, not you, but giving all of us the power, because it has so much power in what you say and what you don't say, or because it's like, oh, it's my platform, it's freedom of speech, I'm going to say what I want to say. I think that where do you then become an adult and also know that there is also responsibility in how you use your platform? Because
Exactly.
it's just like you're saying, like
Correct.
if you go through my own platform, like you can go all the way from when I started, and trust me, we started before hello.
Before Twitter.
Mhm.
You know, there've been a lot of people that would come and still want me to take stands on things, and it's not that I'm afraid to take a stand, but I'm using my platform responsibly on what that is, which is promoting the work that I am doing for you to come and experience the work and what my gift is. So I feel like the fact that we have that power doesn't mean, to say what we have to say or do what we have to do doesn't mean that we have to just, just abuse it. We
Right.
also have to have the responsibility on how we use those platforms. And if they belong to us, then nobody, no Jack and Jill can come and tell us how to use it. But a
Right.
lot of people do use it because Jack and Jill tells them this is how you should use it.
Hmm.
And so
But
then go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say, imagine if that mindset, imagine if politicians on both sides, all sides, had that mentality, right? Like have that, like Sampson said, that idea of moderation that existed in the past. Imagine if we could self-moderate even a little bit, right? Like every single thought, everything that needs to pop in our head needs to go to social media immediately, or we need to make incendiary or, use rhetoric or do things just to stoke fires for no reason, right? Imagine if people had that kind of desire to have that responsibility. And it may be too large a responsibility that people have now, right? And the political climate we're in now, I don't think there's a turning back. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube.
No.
There's no pulling the song back into the radio.
Gloves are
Like
off.
this is what social media will look like now moving forward.
But
And
Diego,
that's
I
scary.
also, but
Yeah.
Diego, I'm sorry to say,
in our
I feel,
society, at least.
Correct.
but I'm sorry to say, it is also moderated. I feel like the information that is coming out now in the climate, it's moderated and not
How
moderated
is it
in the best
moderated?
way. Well, I feel like there's another side that is, it's really with your algorithms and everything, just giving you
Oh,
the information that they want you to have.
correct. I see what you're saying. Manipulated, I would say, not
It's
moderated.
been yeah. Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, moderated, manipulated. Well,
And maybe they're similar.
It's
I get what you're
manipulated.
saying.
you know, because I go on my thing, and it's all of a sudden we're having this conversation, and boom, this has popped to say, oh, this, this has
Right.
done this. It's like, hold on now.
Right.
Hold on.
That's true.
Why are you giving me this information? You go to like Twitter, you go to like, there's certain platforms you go, and all of a sudden certain information, like, it's not balanced.
Mm.
So I feel like it's curated because this is the information that you need to be fed. And that, to me, and you call that freedom of speech, but is that really freedom of speech? No, because there is a reaction to the information that you're putting out there, because you want people to have that kind of a reaction.
Right. And their power,
Do this to these people.
There's power in lies. So
Absolutely.
they're not, social media would be better if they did they screen what you said. Okay, now that's a lie. That's not true. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a big, huge disclaimer across your post. You can post it, but we're going to post
Community notes.
Yeah. This is full of lies, but this is for entertainment purposes only. Right. Because just letting people freely lie, it's dangerous. It's really, really dangerous.
Yeah, but it's more fun. It's more.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Okay, perfect example.
It's more exciting.
The podcast comes out, and I decide, Sampson turned me down. I don't fuck with him no more. So I'm a put a whole bunch of lies about him, and then everybody, because he wouldn't give me the dick, so I'm pissed. So now I'm telling lies on him and stuff, and it's not true. And everybody, because they love me, like we talked about stands and stuff, they like, oh, well, Coco said it must be true.
And then that's when I release a statement and say, I didn't say no, I said get in line.
I never put in line at the club, and I'm not in line. They better step back. Coco,
this statement is inaccurate. Okay?
And front of the line, I'm gonna put that velvet rope across the back and say,
Not the velvet rope. Come on.
But let me ask you, if someone says something racist or sexist or homophobic, do you think they should lose their job? Or is that infringing on their freedom of speech, though?
It depends on what the job is. I think if you are a doctor or, working that, and it's not a private practice, like if you work in a hospital or, something like that, yeah, you got to go. But I think
Why? Why?
Perfect example. That lady, the doctor, the dentist that was doing the conference, and she made a joke and said that basically that she gives less anesthesia to people of a different the Democrats. I give them less. No.
That is funny though. That's funny.
You're right. It's funny. It's funny until it happens to one of us. Because here's the thing, though, that stuff has been going on for a while, and it's not even been about. It's not even about political. They've been killing Black people in hospitals. Let's keep it real. Allegedly. You see what I'm saying?
Fact.
Yep. And it's like, okay, when are we going to go, oh, but that was a joke, we'll let her slide. No, you can't joke like that when you're a professional. We wouldn't let a cop run around and say something like that,
Okay, well, she says it's her freedom of speech.
Oh, yeah, like I said, she can say
it's her platform, and she can make that, and she can make that statement.
And we can pull her license, too.
Or is
Correct.
it who gives you the power to make them lose their job because they made a statement of what
Because
they
they told us
believe?
that they could harm other people. You see what I'm saying? It's like we can't sit there and go, "Oh, it's freedom of speech."
Correct.
But no, you
We can protest them.
right, you cause harm to other people. We're not talking
Yeah.
about you. You decided you want green blue grass instead of green grass in your yard. Then do what the hell you want. When it come to that, that ain't hurting
Oh,
no.
if they want bluegrass, they gotta go too, cause they crazy. No, I'm just playing.
Mhm.
But you
See
know
now
what I mean? It's
you're
like
crazy phobia, Samson. You're crazy phobia now.
So okay,
Right.
so Samson, so let me just like you used yourself, MC, you used your example of what had happened to you and how they tried to cancel you and all that information, all that stuff that happened or that transpired, and you said you know from that experience you got some, you know, there was some stuff you learned and all that good stuff, and your opinions have changed, has shifted with the statement that you made. So wouldn't it be the same thing if someone says something in quotes racist or sexist or homophobic that they probably don't know? And then you give them that space or that grace to be able to grow from whatever that is, right? Should they then have to, should the consequence also still, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? Because if you guys are saying that we need to be able to have people have conversations and have the platform to learn and to understand and from grow from their stance, then the
Learn
consequence
unemployed.
does not necessarily need to be okay, lose your job, because then you're not necessarily
No.
giving them the grace.
if
No,
their
because
job,
Learn from
if we
unemployment.
knew what
Did you
everybody
still learn from unemployment?
Correct.
if we knew what everybody thought, you know, if we stripped everybody down to see what they really thought about everything, nobody would be working. Nobody's a saint. And
Mm.
I think that again, some people may say things and they really don't mean no harm. But a lot of people, when they say something and they really don't mean any harm, and then other people start attacking them for it, most people are going to get defensive. And so, in getting defensive, it's going to make them appear that, yes, this person is this or that, especially if you're projecting onto them, yes, you are a racist. Yes, you are a homophobe. Yes, you are this or that. Because everybody, like me, I make a living with words. I talk. You know, it is my job to learn and understand people and understand how people think and you know that sort of thing. So of course, I'm gonna be more flexible around the communication. But most people, you know, who just trying to get by every day, you know, they may say something and, you know, people start talking about, oh, you're this or that. They're gonna get defensive because they're gonna feel attacked. And I think that a lot of times, you know, like I've been around some people who says, as a matter of fact, I'll give you this. I have been down south a few times to perform. I've been in places like Montana and Idaho and all performing at little casinos and bars. And I have had white people with three teeth in their mouth come up to me and say, "You are a pretty funny nigger," or "You're a funny fag," or whatever. I've never seen a fag put on a show like that. And I'm listening. A lot of people would immediately, oh, that was, but I'm listening to these people and I'm looking at how they are looking at me, what their body language is. And yes, what they're saying is a huge problem. But I also understand that in that moment that they watch that show, they have made a human connection with me. And so rather than respond to what they're saying, you know, I beat your ass. I'm like, now what makes you say that? Oh, well, because this or that, you said this and that. And my grandma acts the same way. And I'm like, so what does that tell you? That tells you that we're the same, right? As human beings. And I never thought about that. And so rather than planting seeds of growth, rather than truly giving each other grace, what we do is, oh, this person is hateful. This person is this and that. And in those situations, I recognized they had never been exposed to a black person that they could relate to because when they watch their shows, when they listen to their radio, when they read the side of the internet that they're on, they're only told to think a certain type of way about black people or gay people or whatever. And I, as a black gay comedian, and I go to a lot of cities I know my black ass don't belong in. And I go and I interact with these people, and I recognize it is because they have never been exposed, especially one on one. And yeah, it helps that I'm funny and I get on stage and I perform, but they have also never been exposed to a situation where they were able to sit and listen to somebody who challenges the way they think about people who they know nothing about.
Mm.
Well,
Hmm.
with all this access to the internet
Okay.
stuff,
It's
Listen.
still
with all this access to learning and stuff like that, I'm not. My job is not to police people, and I'm not here to be the kumbaya savior and teach them my ways, teach them who I am. I'm
you
not
don't got to do all that.
I'm not going to teach the humans. how to
It's not about teaching them, it's about not letting somebody else's opinion upset you. You know who you are, you know what you believe, and letting other people truly, I believe freedom of speech is just letting other people be and not being upset about it. Now, some things do require consequences. I think overall, freedom requires structure and discipline, which is missing from society right now. But I believe when it truly comes to developing the type of grace that we want to develop when it comes to truly understanding freedom of speech, that means being okay with other people having their opinions, even if you don't like it or it makes you uncomfortable.
So
More grace and more positive results will come out of that than tearing people down because they said something you don't like.
Well, if somebody has a human connection with you because they came and watched your art, and then they could relate because of the conversation or whatever you presented to them, and they still use the slur words of the F word
Some
or
of them don't know any better.
so I'm
how do
I
you?
don't buy that.
I don't
I
buy
don't buy
that.
that.
so
I
Because you
don't.
don't have to
I'm
meet a
sorry.
black person to know
Some
that
of
you
them,
can be calling
Sorry.
black
so
people the
because
N-word.
I'm sorry.
I don't buy
they
that.
know no better.
I
I'm
don't.
supposed to be okay with that level of disrespect.
Yeah, because you why?
Black men don't even let black women, heterosexual black men don't let black women disrespect them. And they're gonna go and say, "Oh, I will see the way," and yeah, you don't know no better, so I'm gonna let him just.
I mean, it's not like they say it every time, that I go down there or whatever, but I have had it happen a couple times. I've also been walking down the street in West Hollywood and had somebody roll down the window and call me that. So I have got to a point where I don't let it phase me. I'm able to read the situation and I'm able to recognize, all these biases are everywhere and it's about dealing with it, as it comes.
I have a question, Sampson. When I don't know where it was, if it was Idaho, Montana, or wherever, where you got called the N word in that face to face conversation, did you use it as a moment to say, hey, like, I don't appreciate being called that? Like, did you use it at all as a teachable moment, or was it just kind of like, tell me why, like, you enjoyed the show?
No, I just be like, no, I'm just playing.
Sir, I know you're not like that, Sampson.
No, usually I will say, well, why do you say that? I'd be like, well, I don't even blink when I hear that word. I'm just like, okay, well, what makes you say that? And they say, well, I don't have any black friends, and they'll say, oh, all I know is what I see on TV. All I see is the fights. All I see is this or that. And I just never, I've had them tell me, I've never, this is both being black and as a gay person.
Mhm.
This has come from black people too. I just never thought of y'all as human. Like a lot of people, they see some gay person that they bully every day. They don't understand. Oh, that person also has a family. You know, um, this person has feelings. This person, we don't humanize each other enough. And I think with cancel culture and stuff, that is a part of missing humanizing people. And I am so accepting. I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I am so accepting of myself and my flaws and where I'm fucked up at that I'm able to give that to other people because I accept everything about myself.
So
That's just you, Sampson.
so so let me ask you this: if because people like to you're a comedian, so people like to come to your show and they want to feel a part, so they want to try to be funny too. So they meet you after the show and they go,
Gee.
if I brought this rope because if you wasn't good, I was gonna take you out to that tree out there.
Oh, well, I'm the type, I go ahead on and I put it around my neck and be like, I know, right? I got one of these motherfuckers in my room too. I personally don't allow people the power to make their words react. I react the way I want to react to what people say, and I know how to take control of conversations and interactions that I'm in. And I think that that is a critical skill that people need to develop.
I think that's important to know, but I also think it's important to not let people play in your face. Like to
I
Coco's
don't let
point,
people play in my face either,
like
but I think a part of that is also knowing how to take control of conversations and interactions that you're in. And so,
mm,
I know when to cuss people out and why, and I know when to react to
you don't got
people
to
and
cuss them
why,
out.
and I
Yeah,
also
I get you.
know, when something does not deserve my attention. When it comes to interacting with people, I have a lot of fun doing that. And sometimes you don't need to cuss people out, because if you take a second and pause or repeat back to somebody what they said, a lot of times they're then able to recognize, oh, that was fucked up what I said, because I've done that. And I'd be like, oh, you never met a funny nigga before? Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Well, what did you mean? And then now you're able to shift the conversation. But I think too many people are pulling their phones out and they're ready for a moment. And I think that, because you have so many people who are ready for a moment, or who are addicted to being enraged and outraged, I think that is what prevents a lot of really progressive conversations from happening with people.
Well, but the thing is that MC, I don't feel like, a lot of the times people are not even given the space, or people don't even have the space to have those progressive conversations. When you go and you do a show, for example, when we do shows, we don't have the time. Even when we do our meet and greets, we don't
Hmm.
have the 30, 45 minutes where someone is going to come and say something, and then we have a conversation with them to to make them
Yeah,
understand. Do you
but tell
understand?
them tell them to
We're
send
not
you a
all
note.
always, we don't have access to that kind of time. So sometimes, like taking a stand also matters on what that is. And again, that's just bringing it to your conversation because you had the time to sit with that person or a few minutes to say, hey, to dissect whatever that is. But what when we don't have that, that time, what do we do? I feel like sometimes that's
Tell
where you
them
take
tell them to tell them to send you a note. Tell them to write you online, and in whatever capacity that you have, interact with them, or suggest that they watch something on the internet or read a book. I
I don't
do
know if
think
someone will
that
use the N word and the F word, and then they have access to online and notes and emails and emails and text messages. If someone will be that ignorant to be able to, again, we're just using that as an example because there's some ignorant folks out there who actually do that they want to stir you up a little.
You want a
some
reaction?
of them, but I think this.
He
I
knows how to
really
handle it.
do
Yeah.
believe that even though I've had people to come to the shows and say crazy stuff like that, I've had it again. I've had that from rednecks, and I've also had black people come to my shows. Now black people, I talk a little shit to black people because I'm like, all right, certain stuff we know better on, but it's like people who, what I say, live across the tracks. I really understand what, because they don't even season their food, so of course they don't know how we live
Mhm.
over here. When it comes, so I deal with that a little bit different. Um, but again, I say, if they hated somebody that bad, they wouldn't come to the show, because in the quotes that are on the poster when people pull up to the casinos or theaters or wherever I'm at to buy tickets, or at colleges or whatever, they know what they're coming to see. If they see the promotional videos, they know what they're coming to see. If they've been following me over the years, they damn sure know. And so I say, even if they say something crazy, I will give the benefit of the doubt and say that they come from a place of truly not knowing. And a lot of times they don't. But I do count it a blessing that we, in what we do, we connect with people so well that we make people break down their biases enough to come out to a show or even watch a video.
Everybody's quiet. The Aminas are like, okay.
I respect his experience.
Yeah, of
And
course.
how he
Because
handles it. Like, we all
right.
handle it differently, and I
Diego,
respect
how would
that.
you handle yours, honey?
Well, I'm not on stage. Like, y'all are all on stage. Y'all are all public figures. I'm not. Like, I mean, going to school in Atlanta and just different experience. You hear certain things, and for me, it's like I agree with Sampson. It doesn't need to be a big rah rah kind of thing, but I like to address those kind of things in a moment. Even on like in corporate work, I've had incidents with different counterparts or homophobic counterparts that need to be addressed in that kind of moment. But we all have our different approaches to it. Um, yeah, that's it. I'll leave it at that.
Well, but I want to ask, have you guys ever have there ever been any regrets about you saying something publicly? And the freedom of speech, this freedom of speech that we are talking about, do you feel like it saved you or it dragged you?
Okay,
When
say it again, you said, is there anything that we said that we regret?
yeah, that you said publicly, something that you said publicly. And do you feel like your freedom of speech, I put that in quotes, did it save you or did it drag you? Especially when you look at your platform, our platform, social media, pretty much.
Oh, I'm a straight shooter. I'm sorry.
Well,
I don't regret anything I've ever said. And the reason I
so
say that,
so when you say things or you post stuff online, you're intentional about the things that you put.
I said what I said. Yeah. And I go back and I tell them, because they would want to argue with me about what I said and whatever. I said, it's not gonna change anything. And I'm not taking it down. I said it and I meant it and I'll say it again.
Yep.
You're not going to listen. If I'm thinking through what I'm going to say and I say it, I've already thought it through, and I've also already thought of the consequences. I They could shut down my Instagram tomorrow. They could shut down my Facebook tomorrow. I don't live for that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't fuel me. I was smart enough to invest and stuff that don't have to have my name on it. I was smart enough to invest those things. So they want to try to think they're stopping my bag. They're not stopping my bag. I'm just able to concentrate more on more
She
real
said,
estate.
"You can't fire me. You
Right. You
can't get
can't
me
fire me.
fired."
Like you can't fire me. You can't cancel me. I the, I wasn't made by you.
Mm,
You didn't make me. You might follow me and admire what I do, but you didn't make me. So I'm going to, long as I'm thinking through what I'm saying, I'm going to say it. And it is what
and
it is.
stand on it. Right.
Do
Right.
what you like. You know what I mean? If you want to stop seeing my art because you didn't like something I said, okay. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
argue with you. Deuces. Because if I don't like something you say, guess what I'm gonna do? Like if you come at my inbox and you trying to get my attention and you send stuff out of there, I go, uh, keep it moving. And I don't block it because I'm upset by what you said. I block it because I'm not going to allow you any more moments to try to disrespect me in my space. You can say whatever you want to say to me when we're in your space. Now, if I come over to your page, have at me. But you're not going to come over here. No, I don't. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Like, what are you, like, what level? What? Okay, so why would I need that person? Why would I need to keep that person in my space, where I get to voice my? Why do I need to keep that person who might just disagree with me because they just want to make a scene and they just want to be a part of the? You know what I mean? They just want to make themselves a part of. I've had people do all kinds of shit just to try to become famous.
Get a reaction. Yeah.
It's true. I've told people the same thing in meet and greets. Hey, my friend is here. Can you unblock him because he said? I said, oh baby, tell your friend to come here. I said, you want a picture, baby? We can take the picture, but I'm not unblocking you, baby. You got a lesson to learn. Keep it moving. Thank you. Thanks for coming. You bought a ticket, right? All right. I don't play that. I don't play that game. Because people, allow people so much, they will continue to disrespect you. And
Facts.
and it will get worse. And then other people will see them disrespect you and they'll think they can just have a free for all.
They'll join in. Yeah.
And I'm not having it.
Which brings me to my whole idea of the little game that we always play, which is like the not this darling thing when we talk about every topic, and I want to just know what your not this darling is for this particular topic. Like, whose speech in pop culture do you think gets protected or excused the most? And why? Whose speech in pop culture do you think gets protected? I want you to think about this really good.
Whose speech
Gets
is what?
protected
Protected.
or excused the most. And why do you think so?
Whose speech?
And when I say when we use speech, it could be their platform or the things that they say, or whatever that is.
I mean, I think my immediate thought is President Trump. Like he created a whole separate platform with different guidelines to say the most insane kind of things, right? I think he's been fact checked so many times they can't even do it anymore. Like it's just so rampant every time he opens his mouth. And we know that a lot of things he says, if somebody else said them, they'd be liable. They'd be liable for defamation. So to me, he gets covered by a lot of news outlets. I think he does it. I think more than most people. I think he also. I think somebody who did it a lot, and people pick and choose when to protect it is Kanye West, who I'm.
Well, I mean, Diego's had.
Kanye has like gone on his rants and all that kind of stuff. I feel like his speech has been protected, and it's been really some of it's been really incendiary. Some of it people found super humorous, but I feel like his stuff has been protected a lot as well.
Well, I want to know your why, though.
Why it's been protected?
Yeah.
For Trump, out of fear.
Well, you've been saying,
For
yeah,
Trump,
you say, yeah.
it's out of fear. I mean, it's out of fear, right? He's threatened all these institutions from Harvard to other schools to HBCUs. A lot of news out, even YouTube just paid him money for a defamation suit. They're scared of retaliation from Trump. So they pay him this money. They allow him this protection. They allow him to do what he wants to do out of retaliation.
Right.
Even different senators and Congress people, it's fear for Trump.
He's still trash. He's still trash.
Whose ass
I
is he
don't care
kicking?
who don't like it. He's trash, and he has not a representation who any human being should be. Period. I don't care. He make a kick ass. I could give a damn if he kick ass, but I know somebody can kick his ass.
Whose ass is he kicking?
He ain't kicking my ass. He ain't kicking my ass.
Whose ass?
I don't see that mother. But I think he gets. But this goes back to what you said earlier, Sampson. I think he gets away with it because a lot of people don't say anything, and they go, "Oh, this is outlandish." Oh, but y'all okay with it? Ain't nobody breaking laws and all kinds of stuff. But y'all okay with it? So y'all, it don't matter. It don't matter at that point. I don't buy that. No. Politician. He's gonna react. He can't even spell.
Okay.
Tell him what Anna history is. Uh, okay, see, but see,
He's blunt.
but when you say that, that's equivalent of when you say all politicians are dirty and they do whatever. That's just like somebody like uh the other guy that I don't like that we don't have to see no more. You say, well, all black people are such and such and such and this and the other. Lump everybody into the same thing and say that they like that. I don't believe that all politicians are like that. I don't believe all. Mm, let me tell you something. That president of Mexico, she ain't playing no games with nobody, and she do exactly. But you don't have to. But I don't think she's being dirty though. I just think she's just being real.
Well, unfortunately, it's not for the greater good right now where we are, honey. Okay?
And
Unfortunately,
I
it's
think
not.
they know that.
It's not the greater good. Okay?
And
For where
people
we
know
are.
that.
Okay?
They just I ain't giving them shit. He's a poor excuse for a man. He cheated on his first wife with his mistress.
Okay, hold
Very
on.
good.
Hold
Okay,
on.
that
Let's
was-
reel it in.
There you
Let's
go.
reel it
He don't
in.
get no credit. He don't get
Let's
credit.
reel it in.
He don't get credit for shit. Trifling ass.
Samson,
yeah, shitting on himself.
which one is your Samson? Which one is your not this darling? Is there anyone? I mean, Diego said Trump, President Trump. Which one is yours? Is there anyone that comes to mind? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know about problematic and fucked up. Just say your opinion and stick by your opinion and be real. If you can do that, then I respect that. I still might not fuck with you because some of your opinions I don't ride with. Mm. I can give it that. I can rock with that. I understand what you're saying with that. Yeah, I don't like fake ass people either. Just be real. If you don't like, if you that kind of person, be that kind of person and say that. But don't hide behind something else, or hide behind Christianity, and you know good well you're a biggest racist, you're the biggest racist in the world.
Don't open that, girl. You're opening
That's a
too many
very interesting topic.
boxes.
Religion.
Too many boxes.
I loathe those
Maybe
people. I
religion.
loathe those people. I loathe. I do. I
Too
loathe.
many boxes.
I loathe those people. Again,
Leave it at it is.
God
Leave it in the graveyard.
The church, honey.
Leave it at it.
know he's looking down from heaven. Bitch, please, he down there. You better look down and talk to him. You know, no better what you saying ain't the truth. I don't. And then I really know when people know they ain't saying the truth. You know you ain't saying the truth, and you know you full of shit. No,
Tracy.
come up, look.
We're opening another Pandora's.
That's an interesting topic there, Coco.
Y'all
That's very interesting.
Y'all want me to? I will be from Compton today in a minute for y'all.
Let's wrap it up.
We need the Coco from West Palm Beach. We need the.
You want the Coco from West Palm Beach? Boca Raton. You want the Boca Raton, Coco? You don't.
Yes, the Boca Raton.
You don't want Coco from the Poking Beans in Miami. No, you don't want that. No. Liberty
We don't
City.
want Coco from Lauderdale. Liberty City.
Liberty City.
Well, BeBe babes. And there we have it, darlings. This was all about freedom of speech, something that's been used to spark revolutions, start movements, write anthems, and yes, excuse some of the messiest, most misguided moments we've ever witnessed. We know it's powerful, it's necessary, but it's anything but simple, because here's the thing. Words are currency. They build trust. They break communities. They can heal or they can harm. And in today's world of tweets, clips, and comments traveling faster than context, what you say doesn't just belong to you anymore. So whether you're an activist on the front lines, a comedian on the mic, Samson, or just my messy play cousin on Facebook, know that your voice has power And with that power comes the responsibility to use it with intention. So to my gorgeous co-hosts and to you, my fabulous listeners, thank you for joining me in this deep dive. So remember to speak boldly, listen deeply, and never confuse volume for value. So until next time, stay sharp, stay accountable, and as always, do it out of respect. Bye, BeBe babes. Mwah. Out of respect for